Join us today as your TV and Peterborough Remembers. In our busy lives, past events become just that, just past events. However, from time to time, past significant events surface because they're prompted by local or national reminders. Such a case may be made when November 11th, in part, forces the country to remember, at least for a few hours. And on this somber day, we join with fellow Canadians and remember those who gave their lives in World War I, World War II, and Korea, and in engagements since. We at least owe those who didn't return home at least that consideration. There are more than 6,000 war memorials across Canada, and there's a very good chance that you may walk by or drive by one of them every day. The most significant and the most impressive monument in Peterborough is, of course, located at Confederation Park, across from the Peterborough City Hall. It was designed by Walter Allward of Toronto, the same person who designed the magnificent Canadian Memorial at Vimy Ridge in France, which was unveiled in 1936. When visiting our Citizens' War Memorial, take the time to look closely at the symbolism depicted in the larger-than-life figures. Two figures dominate the site. One represents the victorious Canadians, standing calm and dignified. His left hand is extended, warning the enemy to come no further. Facing him is the enemy, carrying a torch in his left hand, the same torch used to change the lives of so many during those terrible 4 years of the First War. His right hand covers his eyes. His sword has fallen to his feet. The etched names on the cenotaph carry the names of 913 locals, both from the city and from the surrounding township. There are the names of those who sacrificed their lives for the purpose of peace in World War I, World War II, and the Korean War. Run your hand over the etchings. They are an impressive array of names, and there are too many of them. And go to the rear of the Allward Monument and visit the 12 black granite boulders, which carry the names of 10,382 names of area men and women who served in the Canadian Armed Forces, but who returned home to resume civil life again. These 12 boulders were installed on the site just 12 years ago. Or visit the often overlooked Brown Monument, which is found in Confederation Square. It's just off the sidewalk on McDonald Street. It was erected in 1886 in memory of a local man who was killed at Batoche in 1885. And he's the only militia member of our community to die at Batoche. Walk across the street and enter the City Hall, where you will find a local book of remembrance. This book lists those who have fallen in World War I, World War II, and Korea. It's beautifully inscribed, and each day a page in this hallowed book is turned. Often passed without any proper recognition is the office wall at the Peterborough Memorial Centre, which in itself is a community tribute to those who served this country through the years. And if you're sports inclined, here's an opportunity to refresh in thoughts about this community's early military history. It was not uncommon for all the males in the family to enlist in the Canadian Expeditionary Force in World War I. In Peterborough, all 4 sons of Judge Hike joined the forces. All but one survived the war. Frederick Arthur Hike, the youngest of the 4, was lost at sea while serving with the Royal Flying Corps and presumed dead. His body was never found. During World War II, all 7 boys in the Graham family from Lakefield joined up. The last one, Arnold Graham, passed away earlier this year. He served as an air gunner in the Royal Canadian Air Force. He flew 17 missions. He was shot down, and he served as a POW in Italy. Lining the upper wall above the box office are the badges and the insignia worn proudly by those who served this country. And in addition, there's a wall plaque from the former YMCA which carries the names of 55 former members of the Y who enlisted in the Great War and who gave their lives for king and country. There are also 3 cases showcasing items of interest from Canada's 3 fighting services, Army, Navy, and Air Force. These are there to remind you that this is truly a memorial center. And while we're in the South End, you might consider visiting the Industrial Park, where you'll find the neglected and often overlooked Major George Bennett site, It's a very modest memorial, which is easily missed. George Bennett was killed at Ypres in 1915. He had served for over 25 years as an officer with the 57th Regiment. And when war broke out, Bennett was chosen to lead a company from Peterborough. Bennett never married. His sacrifice is honored in the form of Major Bennett Drive here in Peterborough. And while traveling around the city, take a drive up to Armour Hill. It's properly called the Ashburnham Memorial Park. And in the early 1920s, after the Great War, this prominent piece of property was offered to the city for $3,000. The question was put to the city for a public vote on whether to accept it or not, and it was not. It was defeated. The following year, a group of determined women purchased the hilltop to serve as a memorial to those who lost their lives in World War I. In 1959, a memorial cairn and plaque was unveiled to denote the fact. Sadly, the proper name of the park and the cairn at the entrance have been forgotten by most of our residents. Remember that most memorials dotting the landscape were erected not by the government, but by communities getting together to commemorate what they had lost. Or you can visit Navy Island at Mead Creek, where the former Peterborough Naval Association called their headquarters. There's a small cairn on the property in tribute to former members of the Royal Canadian Navy and the Merchant Marine. The plaque reads, "In memory of the ships and crews of the Royal Canadian Navy and the Merchant Marine lost in action during World War II." Bronze plaques circle the base of the memorial cairn. The most recent remembers Sub-Lieutenant Abigail Cobra, who was killed in 2020 while flying on duty in the Ionian Sea. She lost her life along with 4 crew members of the RCAF and 2 Royal Canadian Naval sailors. And not to be neglected also are 5 plaques affixed to the north wall of the Peterborough Armory. They remember 5 of our own who were killed in Afghanistan from 2006 to 2009. These young Canadians from this area range in age from 23 to 37. All were in the prime time of their lives. Or you can leave the city proper and seek out the various memorials throughout the county. At Lakefield, you'll see a striking Celtic memorial in the idyllic Cenotaph Park, and it was erected in 1930. The obelisk in Westwood, erected in 1920 at the cost of $1,500. And don't miss the beautifully crafted memorial at Millbrook, erected in 1921. Or the one at Curve Lake. It was erected in 1987 in memory of those who served in conflicts during the 1900s. Heroic deeds fade slowly from living memory and they become history. Grief turns to commemoration, buildings deteriorate, and present concerns crowd out the sentiments of previous generations. And as a result, memorials are often neglected and they're often forgotten. So spare a thought today for the young men and women who served our country, and those today serving so that we may enjoy the freedom and the security that we take for granted. Spare a thought today for those who served and didn't come home. Unknown they may be, but they are ours. Let us honor them on this Remembrance Day, lest we forget.